Chris Griffin has gone through many transformations and experienced some unusual relationships over the years. While some of these relationships were more fulfilling than others, Chris often found himself either becoming too invested or being taken advantage of. Despite his struggles in finding romance, he has certainly been busy. Today, we're breaking down the unfortunate love life of Chris Griffin. The first time Chris entered into a romantic relationship was in season 2.
Nice to meet you. I love artists. Whoops, a crack in the floor.
After a painting Chris made for Peter was purchased by an art dealer, Chris became the center of attention in New York City's trendy art community. Under the guidance of Antonio, Chris underwent significant changes and was set up with supermodel Kate Moss. While Kate seemed nice at first, she wasn't much of a support system for Chris. She was constantly hindered by bizarre circumstances, such as being blown out of windows or slipping through cracks in the floor. As for online dating, we know that's not an option for Chris. He prefers to maintain a low online profile to avoid being tracked. Chris had better luck with romance in season 3, at least compared to before. After witnessing an armed robbery, Chris was placed in witness protection. There, he developed feelings for Sam, who turned out to be a girl, something Chris didn't realize at first. Chris's issues with confidence made things tougher. Earlier in the episode, he accidentally sprayed perfume in the face of a girl he liked. So, when he discovered Sam was a girl, he ran away in terror, convinced he would mess things up. Eventually, Chris gained the courage to approach her, but the armed gunman found him, leading to Chris returning home once the situation was resolved. Though Chris promised to write to Sam, their relationship fell apart when it was revealed that Sam couldn't read. Season 4 introduced Chris's first toxic relationship with his substitute teacher, Mrs. Lockhart. After realizing Chris was infatuated with her, Mrs. Lockhart took advantage of him. She even went to the Griffin home in the middle of the night, promising to run away with Chris, on the condition that he killed her husband for her. When Chris refused, she turned to a bear for help instead. Season 4 also marked the beginning of the bizarre and uncomfortable dynamic between Chris and Herbert. Initially, Herbert passively flirted with an oblivious Chris, but his advances escalated over time. Herbert trapped Chris into doing chores, and even had some really creepy fantasies about Chris. This season also saw Chris bonding with a classmate named Alyssa. After striking up a conversation at school, Alyssa recruited Chris to join her Young Republicans club. However, Alyssa manipulated Chris, convincing him to burn Brian's petition to overturn Mayor West's ban on gay marriage, in exchange for letting Chris touch her breasts. In a glimpse of the future, viewers were introduced to Vanessa, Chris's unpleasant and demanding wife. Vanessa constantly berated Chris, criticized him for apologizing, and pressured him to put his parents in a nursing home so she could have their house. In season 6, Chris fell for Anna, a receptionist at the vet's office. Things started off well until Peter forced his misogynistic views onto Chris, leading Chris to treat Anna horribly.
Here's your ticket. Pick that up.
Chris, why are you acting like this?
Pick that up and cook it into something delicious or knit it into something that's useful to me.
Unsurprisingly, Anna left him. In season 7, Chris began dating Connie D'Amico, the most popular girl in school. Connie initially pursued Chris as a challenge, wanting to make him popular. Chris didn't care about popularity. He genuinely liked Connie. Over time, Connie began to fall for Chris as well. Unfortunately, her plan to make him popular succeeded, and it eventually went to Chris's head, ruining their relationship. Later that season, Chris developed a crush on Ellen, a girl from his school. With Stewie's encouragement, Chris asked her out. Their date began well, but Ellen's constant demands and complaints pushed Chris to his breaking point. For the first time, Chris ended the relationship on his own terms. Season 9 marked the start of one of the show's most twisted story arcs. During a Halloween episode, Chris and Meg accidentally hooked up, unaware they were siblings. While the initial incident was appalling, it didn't stop them from engaging in other inappropriate behavior throughout the series, including showering together.
Chris, our bath is ready.
I don't know what to do now. I don't have the parenting skills necessary to deal with this.
And playing doctor. In season 11, Chris had 2 short-lived relationships, one with Sandy, Herbert's niece, and another with Amanda Barrington, a girl he met at a country club. Neither relationship lasted long. Chris has also had relationships that were anything but ordinary. In one episode, he created a life-size doll named Heather, using stolen items from the neighborhood. Chris treated Heather so well that Lois became jealous and destroyed the doll. Chris briefly dated Taylor Swift after inviting her to his high school dance. While their relationship started off well, Taylor wrote a song mocking Chris, claiming it was what her fans wanted.
He licked his armpit, then ate all my dinner and dessert.
Chris broke up with her so she could save her career. In another episode, Chris dated Isabella, a single mother he met at a water park. When Isabella was deported, Chris took care of her children, but eventually realized he wasn't ready for parenthood. Later that season, Chris developed a crush on Heather, a new girl at school. Hoping to impress her, Chris auditioned for the role of Romeo in the school play. Despite Stewie's overbearing direction, Chris captivated the audience with a heartfelt performance, though his relationship with Heather never materialized. Chris Griffin's love life has been full of ups and downs, from toxic relationships to fleeting romances. Which of Chris's relationships was your favorite? Let us know in the comments.